All right, everyone. So anybody who loves Gears of War knows the name Cliff Belinsky. Okay, this guy, he's the co-creator of Gears of War, but he's the big name, right? Everybody remembers him from back in the day. So he talked about the fact that Gears of War will now be on the PlayStation, right? Which is shocking. I'm looking back at my younger self, and he would be shocked to hear that it's going to the PlayStation. And so I'm going to read from GameSpot. They put out an article titled Gears of War co-creator is thrilled that the franchise isn't Xbox exclusive anymore. This year, games that were previously Xbox exclusive properties have been migrating to the PS5, including the upcoming Gears of War remaster, Gears of War Reloaded. Just under 2 decades ago, the original Gears of War was one of Xbox's signature titles. Now, the co creator of the franchise, Cliff Belinsky, has shared his thoughts about seeing Gears of War appear on the PlayStation console. It doesn't feel strange, said Belinsky during an interview with Eurogamer. I'm thrilled that more people are going to get to experience a big part of my legacy that I worked so hard on. Belinsky also noted that he's interested in returning to the series as a consultant, but crickets has been the response from the devs. Although Belinsky left the Gears franchise years ago, he has shared his belief that the franchise should be rebooted. Belinsky also revealed that he pitched an Alien game prior to Disney's purchase of Fox. All right, so they don't have anything else from him on there, but let's talk about a few of things here. First off, it's kind of I have this opinion. It's been kind of in my head for I've been thinking about it for a few days now, and it's kind of a weird one because first off, I actually don't like back in the day, the exclusivity of things didn't bother me as much. Like I kind of thought it was almost cool in a sense of like, yeah, that's on the PlayStation, that's on the Xbox. When I was little, I had the PlayStation 2 when I was little, and then when the 360 came out, I bought that instead of the PS3, which I feel like I got the best of both worlds. But I remember when I actually bought an original Xbox for the first time, which was years later, I got to play all the games that I never could play on the PlayStation 2. And, they were fun and they were cool, but as a kid, it didn't bother me, the exclusivity of things, right? Now, as I've gotten older and I feel like it's more about the modern gaming, I hate exclusivity. I hate the fact that I can't play it on all these different things. And I think Gears of War, I would change nothing about how everything operated back in the day in terms of it being exclusive to the Xbox. I thought the Xbox 360 it's still my favorite console ever. But I think now is the time for all of these things to just be it's just dated, right? The idea of these exclusive games just feels so dated. And it feels like now is the time. And it's going to be perfect. And we talk about first off, they should have Cliff come in as a consultant. All right. And I don't know everything behind the scenes about his departure, any of that in terms of like, you know, maybe maybe they feel that he was a part of why the game has kind of fallen off in a sense. I don't know, right? I have no clue. My guess is that's not the case, but maybe that's what they think. But if that's not the case, he should come back as a consultant because Gears of War 1, Gears of War 2, Gears of War 3, these are iconic games, especially to me, Gears of War 2. And you need to get that spark back. And you can. Look, people are longing for it. It'd be one thing if people didn't want it. People are longing for the kind of series to be rebooted. They're longing. I mean, think about we have Gears of War 1, the remaster, and think about all the hype around that. It's insane. And I think Gears of War 2 is a much upgraded version to Gears of War 1. I like everything better about Gears of War 2. But Gears of War Reloaded, playing that remaster, it felt like I was back playing, some game I haven't played in years. And I had played Gears of War 5, right? We just played it. You could watch that video on the channel. And even that, it's fun. It wasn't Gears of War Reloaded, which is crazy, right? Really, really a crazy, crazy thing to think about. So, I don't blame Cliff for feeling this way because he's right. I think just opening up the PS5 alone can allow this to be rebooted because there's this entire group of people who were PlayStation fans that never played the game, right? That never got into it. And it's one thing to play the game like, okay, I went over to my friend's house and we played on the Xbox, or I bought an Xbox years later and played a little bit of it. That's one thing. It's an entirely different thing to have played it in its heyday, to have played it in its peak, right? When you had everybody on there, when it was hot. That's why this could be so good because you're not going back and playing a game from 10 years ago. You're going back, or in Gears of War's case, 20 years ago almost. You're not doing that, right? You're we're gonna be playing Gears of War 1 all over again in its, in its like hottest moment, right? Because it's going to be re-released. It's a remaster. There's going to be so many people playing, just like we saw with the beta. So very cool from Cliff, right? Happy about it, and I think he's going to be pleasantly surprised by the reaction to it. Well, I mean, especially the PlayStation guys, right? And I think who knows, maybe he can come back on as a consultant after this. Because let's be honest, we have a chance here, right? We have Gears of War remaster, E-Day, and then a Gears of War 2 remaster. If those three things are hit out of the park, we can have the best span of, we can have the best decade of for Gears of War in quite some time, but they got to deliver on it, and we'll see if they do. So thank you all for watching.